Well, thanks for joining us. This is Jim Gosnell's futures trading training. And for this module, I'd just like to do some introductory things and talk to Jim and just sort of see how he got involved in this. And Jim, how did you? When did you start trading the futures?
I actually started trading the futures around 2000, 2001. I started out with stocks, and then I went to trading stock options. And then I started reading about the futures trading shortly after 2 or 3 years of doing the stock trading. I started reading about futures trading and got interested in that. So that's how I got interested. They started in 1997, so shortly after that's when I started reading about them and getting interested. And what I liked about it at first was, what grabbed me at first was you could make money during the day and didn't have to hold positions at night like I was having to do with stock or stock options to make money. So that's what initially appealed to me about it, and that's when I started doing more research on how to trade them and all. So it was around 2000, 2001.
So futures trading is really more of a day trading thing. It's a quick in and out. You don't have to, like I know sometimes the market closes way up here and you wake up in the morning and you just lost $1,000 overnight and you know, who knows why.
Right.
So you're... the intrigue of futures trading is that you're in and out.
Right.
You can go to sleep peacefully because you're not worried about what China's doing to your money.
Right, and it's such a highly leveraged market that you can make good money during the day. And so at the end of the day, I always close out my positions. So like you say, I don't have anything hanging out there overnight that I'm worried about, like if war breaks out in the Middle East or something and the market tanks and you know, then I'm left holding the bag. I don't have any of those concerns. And so this allows people to just have all their trading, investing done right out in front of them where they can watch it and see it. And then when they close out at the end of the day, there's nothing else to be concerned about. So, so that's the beauty of this.
Of futures. Yeah. So how many hours in a day did you spend when you were trading in the futures?
Well, I was full time. I trade usually during the regular stock market hours, which are now 9:30 Eastern to 4 o'clock Eastern. 9:30 in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern. So that's when I was first doing this, I would trade all day during those hours. And it's actually about a 23-hour market, so you can trade it around the clock. I choose to trade during the day because that's most convenient for me. Also, during the day is when the big banks they're doing their trading. They have their own trading departments. So the volume is a lot greater during the day session. So that's when I choose to do my trading. But it's available around the
so in the middle of the night, if that's what you want to do, trade it at midnight, the other markets in the world are still influencing that. The futures trading.
The futures are being traded around the clock. So so you, like if you worked a second shift job, you came in at 11 o'clock at night. You could trade then because then the Asian markets are opening, the European markets open at 3 in the morning Eastern time. So and there's good volume there. So that's another good thing about it. It's you can be flexible with it. Like if you can't trade during the day, you can trade at night. So it's virtually open to anybody that wants to do it. So
you've been doing this for almost 20 years, and you came up with this system. So what you just started taking different studies and seeing how they operated and
they were there's probably thousands of indicators out there. With this platform itself, there's hundreds out there you could choose from to use in your trading to help determine whether to buy or sell. And what I've done over the years is just by kind of trial and error. I have been to $15,000 worth of seminars and webinars being trained on this. However, the systems I learned on, I couldn't make much money with.
Right.
In fact, some of them I didn't make any money with. And so what I did was I took what I thought was some of their best ideas and made my own system with these indicators.
Right.
And so this is what I've come up with is just ones I found that work best over the years, most consistent,
Right.
and it's easier to follow where you don't have to do a lot of analytical work. Like the ones I went to, the seminars I went to, they would show you their system, but then there was a lot of analytical work you had to do
Right.
to figure out whether to buy or sell. So it was very difficult to emulate their results
Right.
because everybody was coming up with different results based on how their analysis was versus the company that
Right.
sold you their system.
Right.
With this is arrows and shaded areas changing colors, so it's a lot more cut and dried.
Right.
And so it's easier to compare notes when there's
Right.
something like that going on versus analyzing things and coming up with usually different results
Right.
with each individual.
So when I think of futures, I think of mostly the commodities like coffee and wheat and orange juice, and that tells me I'm going to buy now and I'm going to sell in August or harvest time or something way out there. But you're saying you're getting in and out of the market in a day.
Right, right.
So so you don't need to be in long term. So what exactly is the futures market?
Well, the futures market in general was used to lock in certain prices. Like if a producer had cattle or grain he wanted to sell, he could lock in a certain price in the future when he knew his harvest was coming in or his cattle was going to be ready to be brought to market. And he would be able to lock in a certain price that he was going to get for it when he took it to market. And on the other side, whoever was buying that could lock in a certain price they were willing to pay for it. So it produced a certain amount of certainty with both parties to where it made it easier for them to do business and plan accordingly. So then it drifted off and became used that way in the financial markets where it's sort of like insurance. Like if you got an investment portfolio and you want to hedge your position against, say, a drop in the market, well, you could do so with the futures. And so that's how it came about. But while that was kind of the big term use of it, along came these intraday traders and looked to take advantage of these short-term intraday movements of buying and selling that was going on, which is what my system is a short-term intraday system. It's not a long-term, what's the future look like type of thing. And so as the big investors sought to hedge their positions with sort of like an insurance against their investment portfolio, then the intraday traders came along and took advantage of the intraday swings, or tried to take advantage of the intraday swings and the buying and selling of these stock index products that were being used in the futures. And so that's how this day trading the futures market started. Right. And it's been going on since about 1997 with the what we call the E-mini index products.
Right.
So it hasn't been around that long, and not a whole lot of people know about it.
Right.
So.
Right. And also, I think when I think of futures, I think of huge $3,000, $6,000, $8,000 margins. Most people don't have that to put out there.
Right.
But you're saying people can get into what kind of dollar figures are we talking about?
Well, you can open up an account with most futures brokers for anywhere from like $2,000 to $3,000.
Okay.
And so it requires very little to get started. And with that, most of them to trade only one futures contract usually only requires like $500 of the $3,000 that you would have to open the account. So it ties up very little capital when you're just trading just one contract. You don't have that
Right.
much money tied up. So the little investor or little trader that doesn't have a huge amount of capital to trade with can get involved in this,
Right.
and with that can make anywhere from $100 to $500 a day with this system with that amount of money. So it
Right.
doesn't take a whole lot to get started. So it's open to virtually anyone. And now they've just started the micro indexes, which are a tenth of that. So what used to cost $500 to trade one contract, now you can trade for $50.
Wow.
And so it's made it open to even more people. So it's not one of those places where industries where you have to have a whole lot to get started.
Right.
Whereas if you were going to just trade stock alone, you can imagine a stock trading at $200 a share.
Right.
How much you would have to have invested to make money during the day with that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it just opens up a lot of opportunities for just about anybody that wants to do it. So.
Well, that's all the time we have for now. Thanks for watching this introductory module. You can watch the future ones, no pun intended, but about futures trading. We'll see you soon.